Hello everyone, and welcome to this Go and Grow MSP webinar brought to you by Hermitage Solutions. My name is Asta and I will be your host today. I'm here with my two colleagues, Product Manager Evaldas and Engineer Ernestas, and we will talk about a highly secure and convenient password manager Keeper.
As Aston mentioned, my name is Evaldas. I'm a cybersecurity product manager here at Hermitage Solutions, and today I will walk you through our topic, password management must-have for MSP partners and customers. So since you already answered that you are providing MSP services to customers, so it's good to know that you're already aware about MSP as a concept. So we'll mainly focus on Keeper as an additional service and the benefit it brings to the customers. So just a brief reminder about ourselves in case we were not communicating actively or you just joined for the first time. So Hermitage Solutions is a cybersecurity and infrastructure value-added distributor. So distributor, of course, it means that we are working with our channel partners, resellers. We're not dealing directly with end customers and not selling to them. So we are here to support our partners to find business opportunities and sell our products to your customers and provide additional value to your customers. So we as a company, we have already a proven track record. We are operating here in Baltics for more than 16 years, and we have our colleagues in France who are working in France and Benelux region. So we are kind of have pretty good background and experience in the field. So going forward further to the main topic, password management, risk, etc. So in general, we'll start from the basics, from the idea, and from the drivers, which are currently in the market overview situation and status, password management status, and customer status related to password management. What are current challenges and what opportunities it brings. So password management, of course, has several challenges. The long ongoing and probably which is going to stay here is remote work, because after pandemics people started working from home. They are continuously working, and companies are implementing a hybrid or even a work from home policy. So in general, people will be working from home more or less. So what does it mean? So we have a background where we have increasing amount of phishing attacks, scamming attacks, etc. And of course ransomware attacks. So when users are isolated and they are working from home, so they don't have someone to consult, let's say if they are getting a suspicious email, a link, click or not to click, doesn't want to bother other colleagues which are working somewhere else. So they generally are more prone to breaches and to risks which could happen to them. And of course, when they are working from home, so they have less access to IT resources. So all we have is a laptop and maybe the remote connection to their working place or cloud services. And if we have some need, let's say, for file sharing, which are bigger than email our client is allowing, so in that case, we are looking for third-party solutions, which sometimes might be insecure and sharing information via unverified, unsecure channels. And some of our services need registration, so it means customers are creating accounts and entering passwords. And as you know, people tend to reuse the passwords, and of course, the more accounts you have with repeated passwords, the higher risk surface there is for hackers to get your passwords. So one of the pain points here is working from home and the challenges it brings. Also, I'd like to share a little bit of statistics from Keeper internal analysis, which was conducted, and they were surveying business managers, business leaders, and IT leaders, IT managers. Sorry, and this is what they have found out. So even though cybersecurity is a hot trending topic, despite of that, even 68% still fear about passwords to be stolen, compromised, or for users to use weak passwords. Sorry. Getting voice back. Yeah, so 60%, so majority also are worried about spend resetting, changing password. So the bigger company you have, the more you spend on IT tickets, which are related to activating, deactivating account, resetting passwords, and in case you have a lot of different accounts, number of tickets may count up and make up a huge amount of money, which should be paid to external or internal IT teams just for resetting passwords. So much wiser way would be to use password management solutions of some kind, of course. So we are recommending using Keeper. And majority of the participants in the survey highlighted they do not have a proper visibility knowledge about the password security policies in place. We don't know what kind of passwords are being used. Is it unique? Is it strong? How many number of passwords users are having? And if we are sharing these passwords amongst the team. So it depends. So situation isn't very good. So it means that it requires a lot of improvement, and there is a opportunity for a proper tools to resolve that. So probably you've seen that if you were interested in cybersecurity breaches stats. So one of the reports is indicating that 81% of total breaches are related to stolen or weak passwords. So it means a majority of those are related to a password. So it means that it should be secured much better than it is right now, because as stats is showing that majority, 90% of total passwords could be cracked in 6 hours or less. 80% of users are reusing the password. So the risk, you understand, yeah, if we use the same password across many accounts, if one account is compromised, the same password could be used to access other users' accounts, and including business accounts, and you understand where it could go from there. Also, employees, let's say people, are sharing their information digitally. Yeah, so it means they are sending it from one place to another using different type of tools. Yeah, let's say if the files are big, we cannot send it via email, so we are looking for some third-party solutions which are probably not validated by IT, and personal sensitive information could leave a company without any control. Once you send it, you cannot get it back. And the sad statistics is that 60% in total are not concerned about corporate security. It means that the attitude is someone else's job, not mine. So with this kind of attitude, if you leave it for employee itself to manage passwords, you can find yourself in big trouble. So it means that for majority of employees, passwords should be managed by IT, by direct managers, or even by external partners like you. And yeah, 45% of users are changing passwords only when requested. It means when I cannot use service anymore. So yeah, then I will change, but not sooner. So there's a pretty long gap during which one password could be guessed, brute forced, etc. So the more often you change the password rotate, so the more secure your accounts are. Yeah, so this is just an illustration about the top 25 most commonly used passwords. So this is from a dark side. So this is which passwords are being used by criminals to crack or just to guess passwords using these dictionary databases. And of course, these passwords are based on most commonly used passwords by users. So we even here in Lithuania, we will be among our top 3 passwords, we have a sequence of numbers starting from 1 to 8, 6, 8, and 9 digits. Yeah, so you can see it's among the top of the password, so it could be guessed very easily and very quickly. And what I mean by quickly, so there's just a very clear illustration. How long does it take to crack the password? So if you are using just a number, so it could be cracked instantly. If you on top add a little bit more, so letters, uppercase, lowercase, special symbols, and increase the length of symbols, you get much more secure password, which would take a lot of time for adversaries to break it. So it means they won't even bother to do that. So they will look for easier target. And yeah, security as a security compliance also is one of the components which we cannot avoid. Yeah, so for some time already we have this GDPR regulation in our European Union. So here I'll be illustrating an example from Lithuanian Data Protection Inspectorate. I believe you might have similar institutions in your countries which are responsible for implying GDPR in your country. Yeah. So our inspectorate is working pretty actively on that. We're doing regular checks. And they are providing guidelines. So we already released version 3 of the guidelines, how companies should protect their assets, digital assets. So we have 10 organizational measures and 10 technical measures. And when we look at the technical measures, the first one is access control and authentication. So here we are talking about password length, that it should be difficult, it should be rotated constantly, and that it should be password should be unique, could not be reused, and in some cases, if needed, could not be visible to end users, but could be just used to connect, but couldn't see that. So although we kind of understand the current situation, what are the threats, we know what is happening, we're hearing about the breaches, etc., and about these top 10, top 5, top 25 passwords, which are not very much changing year to year, just maybe switching positions, but in general, we have this QWERTY password and 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and in the top positions. So here's also an example from our Lithuanian National Cybersecurity Center report. So yeah, it's in Lithuanian, so I'll just explain very simply. We have a gray line which indicates the measures which are documented. So on a right side, there is access password requirements on the right side, angle. So it shows that the majority of the organizations which were inspected by this authority, they have a documentation in place about managing access and passwords. But if we take a look at the yellow line, so which means that it is used in practice, so we can see that it's just a little bit more than 50% are using all these policies and procedures which are documented for majority, but only more than half are really using it. So the gap is kind of clear. Yeah, we know about the risks, about the happenings, constant breaches, etc., that there is a compliance requirements and the possibility to get a fine if you are not compliant. But in even then, we have a situation when that companies are still not resolving this issue. So let's talk about how it could be resolved. Yeah, so we'll take a look from a keeper perspective and how this product could help. So first thing first, so we'll go through the features and what are the benefits, and later on we'll translate it to MSP model, how it translates, So the key features is just a few, maybe the main, which are most important, but there are much more. And during the demo, Ernestas will show some of those. Also during the presentation, I will also mention in the next slides. So two-factor authentication. So it's clear that password, username and password is not enough. Everyone says that, everyone understands that, yeah? So in that case, Keeper also has a functionality and it integrates with many MFA or 2FA multi-factor authentication methods like software tokens, hardware tokens, external third parties authentication providers, etc. What are the benefits for this type of functionality? So it could enforce, if you are using a technical tool with MFA, so it first of all, it increases your security posture and also enforces password policy. So if you are securing and using technical measures to MFA, so you're already enforcing your policies in practice. Also encrypted vault for each employee. So it means when you have a company and a bunch of employees, so it doesn't mean that there is a one vault. So every single employee has its own separate vault. So in case if the employee somehow would reveal his access to the vault, there is no chance for lateral movement. So no one else could go beyond this one vault. So it's kind of one single encrypted cluster, and you cannot go anywhere from here. It's not like you get into the network and from there you can go much deeper. So it's not. So this prevents this amount of possible breaches, which are related to password to credentials thefts. Secure file storage. Yeah, I already mentioned that when people are working from home or they need to share bigger files, yeah, they are using ways how to do that. And sometimes they are using a not validated third-party tool. So in this case, Keeper has a password sharing option. You can add files and share with a specific recipients you want, with a group of employees, with one specific employee, and you can delete it and no one will be able to access this file. So what it does, yeah, it increases some productivity because you use the same one tool for many features. You don't need to go somewhere else, look for a solution, so you already know how you can do it. From technical point of view or IT personnel, yeah, so it also has integration with many identity providers and identity provisioning solutions. Yeah, so Active Directory, LDAP, and many more are like single sign-on solutions using Psalm 2.0 could be integrated. So it means you don't need to do double work and create users in a Keeper. It could be imported from user directory, some third-party outside user directory. So what it does, it simply reduces help desk cost and IT cost. You already have a user, it will be replicated in a Keeper. If it belongs to a specific group, it will be represented in a specific group in Keeper. When it's in a specific group, it could get already access, which is predefined for employees, which belong to this group, to have certain amount of access to some applications, so they could start using their accounts from day one. And what's good about that, so actually, if we take a new employee, so we can say that one password is enough. So when we have, let's say, Azure Active Directory integration, so we can use the same password to log into their PC, to log into their Keeper account. So it means from there they are getting single sign-on, and there it could be listed all the list of applications they would need to use. And autofill is possible, so they would need manually to enter their credentials anymore. So it reduces time drastically for employees to use their access to applications. And of course, admin console. So Ernestus will show the console how it looks. So it has granular in-depth reporting capabilities, auditing, and analytics. So you can see everything what is happening. You can get reports. You can provide these reports to auditing parties. Let's say if you are certified and you have recurrent audits and the auditor needs some information, you can simply download report and share it. So So about the technical capabilities, now let's talk about the company itself. Because if you want to protect the most important information, of course, you have to be sure that you can rely on the product and the company to whom you are handling this task. So KeeperSecurity is founded in the USA in 2011, so it's not a newbie in the market. So we have a proven track record. It's not some kind of startup, so we are in a very good financial situation. We are profitable, growing, so it means we are not going out of business anytime soon. So you don't have this risk when you are thinking about the partnership with whom to go. So with this partner, you can be sure that it's here to stay. Also, global coverage. Yeah, so we are operating across the globe. We have offices across main continents. And the company itself, it started with the technical people, so cryptography experts who started with a secure vault, and we actually pioneered. So they were the first one password manager who used this zero knowledge architecture or mode, let's say. So what it means in simple terms, that company Keeper cannot know the passwords which are stored inside. So if there would be some, let's say, even physical breach, someone goes into Keeper, takes hard drives or something like that, there is no way to get this information because Keeper does not have a key to decrypt information, which is all information is encrypted with the user password. So it's the key, the only key which unlocks all the information. And of course, since the service is provided via cloud, so it's important that the data centers are reliable too. Yeah, so Keeper has all SOC certification from SOC 1 to SOC 3, PCI DSS level 1 compliant, ISO 27, FIPS 140-2 compliant. So it means that encryptors are compliant with the FIPS specifications and some additional regional certifications. And of course, every year, so we are getting some kind of best password manager rewards. So yeah, this one is not updated, but in general, every year, even last year, we got some best password manager awards. So you can even find it on their blog. So this information is public. So now let's focus about the MSP itself. Yeah, so from information, we can have this feeling that it's a good product, a reliable company. So how could it help with the MSP? So let's start from you as an MSP provider, yeah, as MSP business. So with Keeper, you can do both. So you can secure your own passwords, your own information, and manage your customers' information. And there might be different allocation of duties. So you can you can manage environment for customer yourself, or you can provide this vault and customer would be managing itself. So it just depends. You can agree on who's doing what. And MSP, of course, it means that it's a recurrent income. So it means not that you sell for 1 year and 1 year you are not getting any income. Of course, it's a small, it's a fraction, but you can plan your financial flows, and you can focus, very common upsell method is just a land and expand, yeah, because with a Keeper you can increase your customer satisfaction. And what it means, yeah, if you already have an MSP customer with some services, let's say antivirus, maybe you're providing like a data security information officer services, etc. Yeah, so on top you can add a password management solution, because it's a necessity, because there is no any possible way to manage passwords and to be compliant at the same time, because you need to have unique passwords, long passwords, randomly generated with numbers, upper lowercase. So it's impossible for human brain to remember, let's say, tens of different passwords. So there is a need, yeah. So you can add additional value by adding the password management to a portfolio, and of course you get your own margin on top of that. And of course you can enhance your customers and even your own compliance, because with a Keeper you get visibility, yeah, and you can enforce the policy. So if there are some requirements, so what kind of policy should be, so you can simply automate it and enable it in the Keeper. And what's in it for your customers? So it's very simple. So as I mentioned previously, majority of the attacks, 81%, are related to lost or weak credentials. Yeah, so with a Keeper, you can protect it. And one of the features is even you can actively monitor. So Keeper has this, it's called Breach Watch functionality. So what it does, it takes, it analyzes passwords which are sold available on the dark web. They take these passwords, run through hashing algorithm, and compare the values to the password hash values available on their data center. So if we have a match, so we inform a customer that, dear customer, the same password was found on dark web, and we recommend you changing it. Yeah. Okay, so I already mentioned about these secure vaults that every user has its own separate vault. And of course, you can enforce different type of policies for different type of applications. How long it should be, how often it should be rotated, and which is good, so that the product is cloud-based, so you can use it on different devices, and it doesn't require any additional licenses. You have one account, you can access it from any device. Of course, every single time you just have to approve the device. So there are workflows for that. Employee productivity, I already mentioned one of the ways that it could be automatically provisioned. Another way is that if we are using single sign-on, so we just connect to the Keeper, and from there we can access all the applications, and even without need to manually enter the passwords. It has an autofill feature which could fill the passwords for the users. They don't have to remember. And the other thing about the security, so there is a way to give users ability to use login credentials, but not to see the passwords. So it could be kind of masked, yeah. So you share the access to your let's say employee, colleague. He can use it, connect to any services, but he cannot see. So it means when he leaves the company, he cannot access service from somewhere else, because there is no way to know the password. Also sharing of the credentials, so which is good. Let's say if we have a bigger company with different employee groups, units, etc. So let's say team leads could take the management of the accesses to the different applications for their teams. So people don't have to worry about it, because if you remember the previous task, that 60% doesn't care about corporate security. So if you give these tasks to people who are not caring about the security, you might end up in a bad situation. And strengthen compliance. So yeah, I already mentioned. So it has a very detailed reports, possibility to generate audit reports, get analytics, and of course print out, send these reports to third parties, let's say for auditors, etc. So this could ease in your compliance or certification for some kind of compliance. And so I mentioned just briefly the main benefits. So now I will hand over to my colleague Ernestas, who will show the interface itself. So in the meantime, if you come up with any questions, so feel free to fill in the Q&A this tab, and we'll take a look at your questions. Thank you.
Hi everyone again. I will just mention it a lot. and I will show you a few things in practical. Okay, so I'm going to start sharing my screen. A second. Here we are. I hope you can see it already. So Elders mentioned before that it have certain integrations. I wanted to just a quick share you the whole list of integrations that Keeper is able to integrate. So we have SSO providers integrations. So that basically means that single sign-on future, if one of your customers have one of those services, they can integrate Keeper and transfer all accounts and create accounts directly from those services. For example, Microsoft Azure, if they have their corporation over there, they create a tenant in the Microsoft, and at the same moment, Keeper account will be created for that person. Also, it have theme integrations, browser extensions. So basically, all major browsers are compatible with Keeper. Also, other password managers, even if they are concurrents, they are able to export and import passwords. For example, if one of your clients hear about Keeper solution and the excuses is, yeah, it's a great tool, but we're already using something, you can always mention that it's very easy to transfer all your passwords from any other password keeper that they are using at the moment, if they are supported, to the Keeper. So it will last like 5 minutes. You just export the file and import to the Keeper. All passwords will be saved. Okay, so multi-factor authentication, dark web scanning. Elders mentioned it, and I will show you in my future in a few minutes that Keeper is always browsing for leaked passwords. It also looks on dark web, in the normal web, and see what passwords are recently leaked. With those passwords, they comparing your passwords. So if your passwords compare with leaked passwords, they announce you by telling, look, that there is some cases that this exact password was leaked. So maybe you should be aware that you should change your password. It's a very good feature to keep you on the track if you are not breached. Okay, and also I want to quickly show you how easy is, in this case with with Azure, to integrate with Keeper. So we are in the dashboard screen of Azure. If you would go to enterprise applications, you see all compatible applications. Give me a second till it loads. Yeah, all the informations. For the time of sake, let's use the search bar, and we already can see that Keeper Password Manager is over here. If you click it and follow the following steps, you can easily integrate with Keeper, and everything in Microsoft Azure will be linked with your Keeper. Okay, let's go to the Keeper admin dashboard itself. How about admin page without the dashboards, right? So in the dashboard, we can see all useful information. How many logs we have, when we have logged in. It's in general in company, yes. So if you look at the chart, you see how often we using Keeper, for example. As you can see, in weekends we're not using much because we are not working weekends, but in the working days we're using it pretty much. So admin can have a general view that something is going on. Is everything all right? For example, if your company is not working, usually not working on the weekends, but somehow one weekend there is, I don't know, 100 passwords that someone was using, I don't know, passwords for several websites. So administrator can start guessing that something might not be right. Yes. Also, we have security audit. So it's Keeper is always monitoring our activities and comparing it. So as we have some demo environments that we intentionally leave it vulnerable just for showing purposes. So our score is a bit lower as a tech company, but I assure you that this is for demo reasons only. And the breach watch. Yes, as I mentioned before, how many passwords scanned, how many are secured, and how many are not safe. Yes. I showed you before integration with some SSO services, yes, but that don't mean that you have to use them. If you want to use traditional way, you can invite any new worker by manual, doing it so manual. So you just type a name, you type an email address of the new employee and the job title. That employer will receive a email with invitation to join a Keeper. When he click on that link, he will continue registration process, and after a few minutes, he will be logged in with his personal vault. One thing what I want to mention, the first time that employee joins his own vault, the corporation vault, yes, he will receive his personal Keeper also. And in the MSP account, he will receive a message that the administrator can transfer your password, but by any time without any other messages. So by GDPR, you telling your employee that that your administrator can use your passwords. This comes very handy if the worker leaves company and we have concerns that he might not give all information that he managed to get in all years working in that company, yes? Or he, for example, some terrible mistake happens, accident or something, and no one can log into his website or any other link that he was working on, yes? So administrator can transfer his account and give permissions to someone else join those certain areas that the previous worker had the rights. So after we are finished with registration, we have our employee list and we can create the roles. In our company, we have regular users and administrator users. Because we are a pretty small company, we don't expand much. After we create our roles, we attach our employees for this certain role. We also can create the teams. It comes handy when, for example, there is marketing teams and one marketing team is working, for example, with Latvian country only, other working with Lithuanian company. And for sure, Latvians don't need most of the times join for other Lithuanian websites. So department is the same, role is the same, but tasks are different, logins are different. So we can divide by that. And when we have our roles assigned, we can create a policies for them. So we can enforce to use a secure master password. We can decide how long password should be, how difficult it should be, if it should be lower cases, upper cases, and so on and so on. Yes, we can decide biometrics. If it's used in our company or not, this is basically on your own privacy settings, what you want to keep. If you want to restrict something, for example, if you want your workers that they are able to log into the vault with a computer, but we don't want them for any reason at all to use the mobile phone. So we can just click a button and don't allow them to do so. It comes with very handy features. As you see, there are pretty many. One of them that is very important to mention, I think, is the mask notes. Evaldas already mentioned that if we have temporary workers, internals or third-party workers that for some reason we need to give them permissions. For example, we are hiring third-party developers to fix our website, to load the new content. Naturally, we need to give them login details, so how otherwise they can join and do their work. But what happens after we give them those details? They can spoil it. They can write it down on the piece of paper, the classic way, yes. So by masking our notes and masking our passwords, we are able to give permission without showing them the password. So basically, Keeper will push login details by itself, and the user won't be able to copy paste it or see it, the password. So it's very, very handy tool, especially for those companies who have third-party workers or temporary workers and be afraid that they can leak password intentionally or not intentionally. Keeper also saves not only login details, but some other details also to help our clients and users safely fill certain areas. For example, credit card, payment card details. If the computer is infected by keylogger is a malware that registers keystrokes on your keyboard and save them for the hacker. So hacker can see what are you typing, and if the hacker will see that you're typing credit card number and you and the code, he will be able to duplicate that and use your card. So Keeper could fill all information for you, so you won't be able to expose in that exact malware. Also, we can have contact addresses, banks, and so on and so on. I will scroll a bit so you can see how many useful notes you can save. Okay, other things to mention. You can enforce or not enforce, depends on your policy. If you want autofill or not autofill. And I guess one of the also one very handy feature is allow IP lists. For example, it's a one step higher with your security level. For example, you are using your computers only in the office, and certain applications don't want to be used from home. So you can allow and make an IP list that for certain applications will be able to join only from the exact IP address all the time. So if the person comes to your office, opens the vault, he will be able to join certain areas, and if he's bringing the same computer with the same vault at home, he won't be able to join it again. So really, really handy feature. And also a transfer account, I already mentioned that. So if the admin sees that we have a need to use your passwords, your vault content, administrator can use that and transfer your details to another account. For example, one worker is leaving the work here and another joining the work, so we can, in the same position, we can easily transfer all the needed necessary information to the new worker's account. Okay, so I guess about registration and the roles and the policies, I showed a few things. Security audit, so we can basically see by every worker how many passwords the worker have, how many weak passwords, strong or medium passwords it have. So we can give advice to the workers. Look, you have a pretty few weak passwords. Maybe you should consider to changing them. Also, you can teach other workers as well. You can enforce them to use second factor authenticator. I already show you integrations with second factor. What do they have? Breach watch also I mentioned, it follows not only by your company, but it follows also by your workers. So you can see which worker have leaked passwords, and you can also say, hey, look, Keeper sees that some of your passwords may be leaked, so consider changing that. Secret manager, it's another very handy tool, but I think we're gonna mention that in our next webinars because we need some time to explain about that. If you are interested, you can quick look on the Keeper's webpage. If you will be more interested, please contact us. We organize a demo for you, and you can learn more now about that. Okay, and also there is a rebranding capability. So if you want to change logo, email, so you can do so and bring branding more closer to your environment. I believe that's pretty much what I can show because it's very easy solution, and I believe I showed all. Colleagues, do you have something else to mention?
Okay, so we can see several questions coming in. So yeah, one is about how is Keeper price for MSP. So we can take it offline and explain in more details, but long story short, it's a price per seat per month. There are different editions, but we focus on the broadest one, so we can get back to you and explain a little bit more how it works. So there is no any obligations, so you can use it kind of pay as you go. It could fluctuate every single month. You can add and remove users whenever you want. Next question is about integration with YubiKeys. Yeah. So yes, it does have integration with Yubico. Even we ourselves were using integrated together with Yubico, and it works just fine. It has out-of-the-box integration with that.
Is there any benefit for the customer as an MSP provider to buy Keeper from partners?
Yeah. So there are several benefits. So first of all, we already are providing the service to the customers, and we already reach a certain amount of users. So it means it's priced per tier. So buying from Hermitage Solutions, you would have a better price when just buying directly from the vendor.
One more question. Is it possible to try Keeper for free?
Yes, it is. So even there are several options. As a partner, you have a possibility for NFR, not for resale license. So you can have it for free for up to 10 accounts, 10 users, or there's public possibility to get for customers, let's say online, go directly to the Keeper website and fill in the trial request, and you can try it for some time.
It seems that we already answered everything. So to conclude, we hope that this webinar was helpful for you, answering your questions. And if you would like to get to know more, do not hesitate to contact us. And that's all for now. Thank you for joining. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we will share this recording with you. And have a good day. See you in our other webinars.